But I have one question for you guys both, Luis and John, because you are great collectors and great guys, which is more important.
Thank you.
And the one question I would like to ask you is, when did you begin your collection? And why did you begin your collection?
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think it's completely different
Yeah.
story. Like, I think I play video games since I was 6. Like my first video game was in 1983. I got a Odyssey, the Odyssey from Philips. In Brazil, Philips was the
Nice.
Odyssey 2?
The Odyssey 2. That for us here was the Philips Odyssey.
Okay.
Yeah. Was my first one. So since 1983, I play video games. But I started collecting more seriously in 2017. So I'm a recent collector.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And I started, I think, as most of the recent collectors, just trying to bring some nostalgia back. Like trying to reconnect with some special moments, memories of my life. So I started buying the video games that I had back then. And it made me so happy. Say, okay, this is something that I will invest more for my happiness. Like it's a hobby for me. My YouTube channel is a hobby. And I found out that it's something that for me is special. And in 2019, I moved it to the United States. I live in Portland, very close to John. We are almost neighbors.
That's right.
And,
Nice.
Yeah, and in the US, it's much easier to collect. Like
Sure.
You can have access much easier to games.
Sure.
And I think in the past 2 years, I kind of specialized myself in rare and obscure consoles. I love this kind of like segment of the video game. So that's it.
2017, like 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
And did you start from scratch?
I started from scratch.
You had anything with you so far?
I have one Game Boy,
All right.
3 games, and 1 Game & Watch.
Wow.
The only things that I kept.
And then all of a sudden you just said to yourself, I'm going to start collecting my stuff.
Yeah, then I met Tiozão, and I think I'm
nice.
the number 1 customer there.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's for me, it's kind of it's therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Like the collection.
Yeah.
I love the cleaning day is the most special day that I have. People always ask, it's hard to clean. Yeah, it's hard, but for me, it's a pleasure. Like I spend
hobby.
a whole day like cleaning, removing everything from the shelves. Like
Nice.
You heard some music while you clean?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. I like punk rock.
Nice.
Like
Punk rock.
NoFX is
Okay.
my favorite band, so I put some punk rock and Pennywise, NoFX, and then just cleaning.
But
the
it has a
stuff.
therapeutic effect.
It has, yeah. And I do that like 3 things: music, cleaning, but also I use this time to turn on my video games because it's important that you turn all of them on, like from
It's
time
like a
to
car.
time.
You have to
Yeah.
turn
Yeah,
them
yeah.
on from time to time.
So I have my
Okay.
sequence. I turn all of them on, all
Nice.
of them, the handhelds and the consoles.
Nice.
So,
You want more therapy? Come on over. So yeah, I got a whole garage. You can get
don't
all
like to-
therapeutic all you
It
want.
would be a pleasure to go to your collection and to do some work there.
But I think you will spend like 2 days cleaning
His collection?
Oh,
I think
more.
More
Yeah.
than 1 week.
Yeah.
I can do it.
All right.
Let's talk more about
What
it.
about this huge collection?
Oh,
When did you
geez.
begin your collection, John?
So it's an interesting story. So rewind back to my family. It's important to know that my mother and father one was a hobbyist and another one was a kind of a closet collector.
Mhm.
So my dad was a hobbyist. He was into everything from remote control airplanes to black powder rifles, archery,
Whoa.
and
Nice.
he did build his own redwood strip canoe.
Nice.
He built 2. Actually, one started and ruined, like he did it wrong and had to start from scratch. Took over a year to build it. It was beautiful. Anyways, my dad was a hobbyist, liked to be into hobbies. My mom liked to collect like porcelain dolls, Coca-Cola products. She would go to flea marts and I would go with her. And I got used to going to like yard sales and flea marts. Well, eventually I got comic books from my barber who gave haircuts, and he would rip the covers off the fronts of them. I'd still try to sell them at flea marts, and kids would buy them because comics at the time were still $1, and so I was selling for like 5 cents, 10 cents. I'd still make $20. I was making more than my mom at a yard sale, and she's like, "That's weird." Well,
I can start a business here.
Yeah. So I started there, and I liked comics. I was really into comics in like the 80s and early 90s. Read everything like Transformers, the Marvel Transformers comic book line, Iron Man, Captain America, Uncanny X-Men. Went from comics to baseball cards.
Mhm.
So kind of did both of those at the same time. Did that for a little bit just because I played baseball growing up. That was my main sport I played.
Yeah, sure.
Baseball cards, then turned to action figures when the Power of the Force 2 line came out of Star Wars. Did that for a while, but really then from action figures to video games. And so probably for over 30 years, I really started going to yard sales and flea marts and collecting video games. Started off easy with like Atari. I got a black and white TV. My dad's like, "You're crazy. Why do you care about a black and white TV?" "Dad, there's a black and white mode for this Atari system and I can get games cheap." So went from there, started collecting Nintendo, a little bit of Odyssey 2, which is your Philips Odyssey. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Did I have a purpose at the time? No. But as it continued, I then really started thinking this is becoming something else. I'm collecting what I now consider an archive of games.
Yeah.
It hasn't been fully determined kind of what the end result is, but right now my purpose is to have an archive of games represented. That's important to me. It's important to me that there's a representation of a complete collection. This is what a U.S. complete collection consists of.